Albert Veksler, great to be with you again here, talking about the Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast that you helped found. Tell us about this upcoming one here in Jerusalem, which is actually the first one in Jerusalem since October 7th.
Thank you, Chris, for having me. Well, we're really excited about the upcoming Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast, and I think God will really carve out a special moment in time, gathering the nations, allowing us to come together to pray for the peace of Jerusalem before some, I believe, major changes and shifts are going to take place. Because, I mean, we are heading to a major confrontation. You don't need to be a prophet to realize that. And the West is really under a massive attack, and they haven't really understood it. But I think this is something that we're going to be seeing in this coming time. So there's never been a better time to come to Jerusalem and pray.
Okay, and you have people coming here from the nations?
Yes, despite all the cancellations of flights and whatnot, people are coming from all over the world, from Japan, from United States, from Europe, from Africa, and so we will have a very international crowd of people, as always, leaders, congressmen, members of parliament, and of course our Knesset members are going to be hosting them in the Knesset at Waldorf Astoria Hotel, and it's going to be huge.
How significant it is when you have members of Knessets and parliaments, mayors, to come here and pray for Jerusalem and then have that impact in their own nations?
I think this is very significant, and I think it is something we're very much looking forward for, because every time when the Jews and Christians come together and pray, there is a significant change coming. I would even call it a history-making moment. We saw it in Holland. You were there with us when the reparation funds that were held back were suddenly released on the day we were gathered at the Rittersaal. We've seen it in Rome, Italy, when the senators promised to help Israel and move the embassy, and then they win the elections exactly a year later. Now they have to fulfill their promise. Yeah. But there's like many things that you can see. I could tell story after story. We were just in Sweden, saw amazing unity and love and support for Israel, despite the fact that the people on the streets of Stockholm were not so happy.
Yeah. Now, you founded this Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast how many years ago?
That was in 2016. We started talking with Robert Ilatov. Then President Reuven Rivlin endorsed the idea as a great surprise for all of us. And then we launched it 2017. You were actually one of our founders. You came and you've seen it, take us all over the world. We have been now in 20 cities, outside of Israel. So it's the 8th annual Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast in Israel, and then after that we're going to go to New York on the UN week.
Well, that's a significant place and time to be when literally the nations of the world come back to New York for the annual General Assembly. Tell us how people can, they can either come here, you're expecting of several hundred, but how can they find out about the Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast? Well,
we have our website, www.jerusalemprayerbreakfast.org, and there is a contact button. There is the information about the registration. People can contact us and say, please tell me how to register, or tell me how to watch the live stream of the Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast on May 29 and 30th. So it's very simple. It's just to click on contact.
And final question, Albert, how important is it to be praying for the peace of Jerusalem at this time?
Chris, there's never been a more important time to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. We are at war. Our boys are dying in Gaza, and there is a front in the north, in the south. There can be some more fronts open up. Iran just attacked us with 350 projectiles, and you see God protected us from any direct hits. So is it the time to pray for peace of Jerusalem? I think it is.
I think so too. Albert Veksler, thanks for joining us, and look forward to the Jerusalem Prayer Breakfast.
Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate you having me.